epoch. I thought I would go live a couple minutes early because, uh, well, one, I want to wait for people to kind of show up, give you guys an update, tell you what's going on, stuff like that. If you are watching this in the aftermath of this, probably skip ahead maybe 5-10 minutes because that's going to be about how long I take before I actually get into today's topic. But those of you that are here in chat, say hi. That way I know you're here. but so I've got some videos coming out. Man, I have been because I of what happened in my tip jar. I was able to. Come on, Sam. Sorry, guys. I will explain this one to you in a second. Okay, so lay down, knock it off. So, yeah. Sam's had part like the last 3 hours to sit around and play around, but instead of playing around, she's just sat there and laid down. So about 5-10 minutes before I start the live stream, this brat decides, oh, now it's time to play it. Now I'm gonna be a pain in the ass, and I was gonna tie her up to on the leash. That way I could get some time to talk with you guys, but she begged me to let her to let her come sit with me while I did the live stream. But as you guys can see, here's kind of what's going on. If you guys can see there, yeah, say hi, Sam. So, but crap, I need to watch the. Anyways, so having somebody put a large enough tips in my tip jar, not only to help me out to cover the things I needed to cover, knock it off. To do the things I need to cover. I got way more than I was expecting, and so what I ended up doing was buying a Greyhound ticket, and we are now in Shreveport. And honestly, it was a good thing because Shreveport is actually pretty good for us. And you guys probably saw that in early. Hey, Rugsy, in the video earlier today. But I got 2 videos coming out tomorrow. One is talking about working while homeless, and the other one is talking about this new bill that was just passed in Florida. Essentially, Governor DeSantis signed the bill, saying that it's illegal for people to be homeless. That basically he's banning it, and then if you read further on, what they're doing is they're forcing mandatory camps, and I talk about this a little bit in the video tomorrow, but it just we're just. You guys will like it. But anyways, so I got that, and I got another video coming out Sunday, Monday, and I think Tuesday as well. So I have been sitting here recording and catching up on some of the topics that I needed to cover over the last couple of days, thanks to that. This is why I say, hey, you put stuff in my tip jar. It kind of gives me the freedom to really work on this channel and to get content out. And I think that the content that's going to be coming out is going to be pretty good. Don't you bite me in the butt. So, it is what it is. So, all right, it looks like we have 5 people here, and I'm gonna ask you a question. So, those of you that saw, did anybody watch the State of the Union address? That's my first question. If you saw the State of the Union address, did you consider it inflammatory? Did you just figure it a bunch of hogwash? Like what is it that you saw there in the State of the Union? If you watched it, I watched some of the highlights and clips because I kind of already understood that they were already giving pre-speeches out before it even went, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna watch this. So no, I didn't watch it, but I did watch the highlights of it, and it's amazing that they did what they did with him. But I would really like to know who his handlers are, who are the ones that are telling him what to do. But you also just have to look at who gave him the largest campaign contributions recently, who was the ones that was behind him and influencing him and his wife to be able to run, even though they knew his mental state. So that's the question. So all right. Let me take a deep breath. Let me clear my thoughts. Let's get into today's topic. If Sam doesn't decide to be a brat. So, okay, so she's calming down. Find yourself a stick. Hey, there's a stick. Chew on the stick. You like sticks. Yeah, Sam is a stick dog. Okay, so the World Economic Forum and the Utopia Society that is that they're kind of perpetuating, or that they're talking about and things like that. Um, I think that this is just my thoughts on the subject. Okay, hey Tuck. Okay, hey Bushcraft, nice to see you. Can't say anything nice about that speech. I don't think there's very many people that can, Rugsy. So, and I will start covering comments. So if you guys have any questions, or anything you'd like me to expand on, just tell me in the comments, and then after I'm done with the topic, I will come back and we'll do like what we always do. It seems to be a good format, so that I can actually discuss the topic. But going back to the World Economic Forum, everybody points at the World Economic Forum and goes, "Oh yeah, they want 15-minute cities. Oh yeah, they want the fourth industrial revolution, own nothing, be happy, all those different things." But here's the natural evolution of things. So we as a people, as a globe, as a civilization, even down to being a society, called the United States of America. Okay, we everything evolves over time. Nature evolves, people evolve. As you get older, you evolve. Animals evolve. Everything evolves. The economy evolves. And so I think what's really going on is, or I think that the point that most people are missing is that. Even though this is a natural evolution, you have entities out there that want to control the, not just control the narrative, but to be able to influence it so that they can benefit from it, so that they could be at the top and have the control and the power and the prestige and all that stuff. But this is all part of a natural evolution. I mean, there came a point when gold and silver was no longer a viable source of currency because of the population and the amount of commerce that was being done. Okay. Well, I mean, now we've evolved to a point to where we are so technologically advanced that we have advanced robotics, artificial intelligence, workforce automation, advanced circuitry. We have all these things that are going, and they're evolving at such a fast pace that the need for large amounts of workers is not there. And you guys have heard me say this quite a few times. The need for large amount of workers is just it's not there anymore. The economy of the future will be the digital economy, and I think even with EMPs and nuclear blasts and all that stuff, I think that we will still have some semblance of the infrastructure left over at the end of the day, once the dust clears and we figure out who's the winners, who's the losers, who's the subject, and who's the ruler. Okay, and we will still have that. So that means that the digital economy will still go. Now, it may take a while for it to get back up on its feet, and it will grow to a certain point. But as the population dwindles because of the advancements in technology, which causes the infant mortality rate to plummet, which means that people live longer. You don't have to have large families because 30% or 40% of your children will pass away by the time they're in their teenage years. Okay, children living long lives and being able to survive. Not very. There was a percentage. That's why you had to have big families. Well, the need for big families isn't there. And so, as just like anything, you got a gust of wind that comes up against my tarp. It's going to push the tarp. It's going to bulge for a second. But then as the wind recedes, everything else is going to recede. So as the infant mortality rate plunges, as these third world countries become first world countries in technology and lowering their infant mortality rate, their population will dwindle. Because of us being first world countries, our population is already dwindling. We're at about 1.5 to 1.25 children per family. So that means that we are actually losing about I would say about 25 to 30% of our population, but that's just us here in the first world country. Now, what about these third world countries where now all of a sudden the infant mortality rate is low, but they have 10, 12 children because they're used to 7 or 8 of them not making it. Okay, and now those children are making it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the natural evolution of things. And what is it what is the positive things that we could look forward to if we didn't have anybody that tried to control it or manipulate it, or take advantage of it, and we had people that were going to be honest, that were humane, that cared about their fellow man instead of their place in power, okay, and their ability to influence and wield power. Okay, why would we need 15-minute cities? Why do we need the digital economy? What is the technological future, the positive things that we have to look forward to in all of this? Okay, and one of the things that we have to look forward in all of this, is the fact that you don't have to go into an office anymore. That was something that will be a thing of the past, because you can do everything you need to from your home. So now your home becomes your sanctuary. Okay, for those of you that have pets, and now get to work from home, how much better of a relationship do you have with your pet? How much calmer and more disciplined, how much better do you get along with your animal? And so now not only your animal gets quality of life, but you get quality of life, because now you're there, you're around home, you can create your sanctuary, you can create your environment without having to deal with the drama and all the other stuff that you would deal with in the office setting. Okay, so there you now when you're looking for employment, you're looking for employment that's going to allow you to have the quality of life that you want. Now, not everybody's going to want the same quality of life. I don't want Lamborghinis and islands and girls in bikinis. I'll take I might take the girls in bikinis, but I don't need the Lambo or the private island. I just want to be able to be comfortable, to be able to have my cup of coffee in the morning, have a good breakfast, and just be able to have a reasonable diet, and to have minimal stress. And so therefore the type of work, the type of things that I'm going to do are going to be that keeps my stress levels low, that I become passionate about, that I'm willing to become self-taught, which therefore again, you're going to have to do that on the digital realm. I mean, those that are working from home are working over the internet, whether they realize it or not. They're just getting paid a corporate paycheck versus the digital entrepreneurship. And content creators, affiliate marketers, guys like that, we are the entrepreneurs of the digital landscape. Okay, and so that's what entrepreneurship will look like in the future. And entrepreneurs need subcontractors, people that they don't really want to go out and build a business, and maybe have a large network or whatever it is. You're subbing out, but you're still self-employed. You're just not as in it as somebody who wants to grow a Fortune 500 company. That's the difference. A subcontractor versus somebody who is self-employed. The guy who's self-employed wants to build a Fortune 500 company. The guy who's a subcontractor just wants to have enough work so that he can put food on his table and control his schedule so that he can be there for his family and have a good quality of life and have certain freedoms that the average employee doesn't have, okay? Because when you work that 9 to 5, when you're on the clock and you're working by the hour, well, you have to do what it is that you're supposed to do. Okay. So, now that you're working from home, okay, is there a huge need to be able to have these car-centric societies or cities? Okay, you're not going to, why would you want to drive 20 miles to the other side of town to a Walmart when it would be nicer if a Walmart was, a smaller Walmart that kind of had your groceries and stuff, and everything else could be shipped to you, because it becomes easier to do distribution that way. So therefore you don't need as much commercial space. Okay. So, this is just kind of, this is just kind of why you would need a 15-minute city, because the digital economy of the future means that you get to stay within your domicile, and therefore your environment and everything else is controlled within your domicile. And then you want to be able to step out real quick to be able to get something because, okay, you're on your lunch break, you're going to go down to the grocery store, there's like 3 items you need for dinner so that you can make dinner for friends that are coming over, you know what I mean? So being able to walk there quickly, because why would you want to get in a car and drive all over the place? A car in the future, the way that things are evolving, a car in the future will be for more long distance travel. If you need to get somewhere quickly, you can take an Uber. But if you want to go on vacation or something like that, you rent a car, you go out on vacation, you come back. And so therefore, not only does that, in the end, the need and dependency on oil should reduce just because of less cars on the road, but then also you have you just have less of your money that you're going to be spending. So outside of your personal domicile, because I think most people will end up, as the digital economy takes hold, home ownership will be nothing more than owning a condo, and a condo is going to be nothing more than you're buying an apartment. Who the hell buys an apartment? I mean, that just makes no sense to me. Okay, but I think that will be what we see in the future, and I think that these commercial buildings will be retrofitted for something like that, so that they can redesign these cities and make it easier for being able to walk and get to where you want to go, because you don't want to call an Uber, or okay, I need an Uber to be here at this time, and because I'm going on my break, and if he has to wait, you got to pay extra, things like that. You're at a certain point, you really do own nothing. But would you be happy knowing that you had a good quality of life, because your employment was fulfilling and you were doing something that you were passionate about and that fit your overall personality, that you could do without having to go into an office, pay all those bills for the car, the insurance, the gas, the wear and tear and maintenance and all that crap and all that stuff and all that money that you would be spending. Okay. So you have these entities like in the World Economic Forum and, and some of these private think tanks and corporations and stuff like that are like, okay, we know this is coming. We see this coming, and we are now redesigning our workforce for this. But how do we have control over the economy so that we can be the industry leaders, so that we can be the Sears, so that we can be the Starbucks, so that we can be the Microsoft? Okay, because Microsoft was the one that made personal computing a big thing, an everyday thing, because the average person was able to go to go and purchase a computer with Microsoft Windows on it. Okay, and in the same way, Sears, you used to order things from Sears through a catalog, and it would go along the railroads. Okay, Starbucks was where you could go and get primo coffee without having to make it yourself, but you want to have something fancy because you can afford it. Okay, and so now the average everyday person goes to Starbucks to have coffee. I mean, and it's like $4 for a medium coffee, or for a large basic coffee. It used to be like $1.50. But the thing is, and if you like them, and if you don't like them, you go to their competitor, Pete's Coffee and Tea Leaf, or something like that. Honestly, they have better coffee. I prefer them over Starbucks. Starbucks over roast their beans. Okay, but that is the economy of the future. That is what the lifestyle of the future, and the transition of it is going to be pretty heavy. Okay, and it's going to be hard because you have so many people, just like in the Great Depression, when we went from gold and silver for private debts to legal tender for public and private debts. When we went for that, when we made that transition, a lot of people still wanted to take the same mentality as gold, when the whole new system had a whole new set of rules, a whole new way of thinking, and so on and so forth. This is why those people that are the wealthiest are also in the most debt, because money is debt. And so therefore, if you're young, you build a little bit of collateral, and you just keep borrowing against that and taking that money and reinvesting it into something that will allow you more collateral, that you could therefore get more loans out on, and and just down the line until you build this huge empire like was it Berkshire Hathaway has, and all that stuff. So I mean, it's the way that money transitioned was, instead of like, okay, it's just it's currency, but they didn't use currency very much. There was not a lot of currency exchange, except for like when you went into town to buy, specific supplies. Instead, now you have to go to the store and buy everything. Well, there isn't enough gold and silver in small enough denominations to be able to do that. So how do we do it? Well, we got to go to paper money. Okay, well, now that we're in the digital age, and people want to be able to move around at their own leisure within their own little neighborhood, and to be able to have a quaint little neighborhood. Well, what's the point of having all these bank branches? Why not have it digital? I mean, you swipe your card, you use PayPal, you use CashApp, you use Venmo. You can even use those to pay for things now. A lot of these payment systems are now integrated to be able to accept that. So if you can get money digitally, and it could be a digital currency, not only does it take down the overhead for the bank, which is working on with the overhead is the employees. It does not cost them anything to make money. That's the conundrum there. But anyways, you have these different things that will move along over time, and it will be 10-20 years before we see it. A lot of people say that the pandemic really sped things up as far as the work from home and the digital economy and all that stuff, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm ready to take questions, and I'm ready to kind of to answer your questions and see what you guys had to say. I'm glad. Thank you for all of those that you showed up. If you guys want to leave me a tip down in the tip jar, if you find this information valuable, the money that you put in there helps me be able to focus more on my content instead of going out and flying a sign, to make sure that I have the resources that I need. Okay, so also I'd love to invite you over to Patreon. The video that's coming out Sunday, is you guys will like it. It will explain to you guys why I push Patreon so much. Okay, so can't say anything. Okay, cool stuff. The nice bag for the video picture. Yes. Okay, so Cherokee, just to answer your question, so that people that that don't understand, when you go into dispensaries, you get it in jars, you get it in bags, you get it prepackaged, so on and so forth, because some of them just have it pre-weighed and prepackaged for legal reasons. Okay, so when you go into a state where weed is legal, but Louisiana is a state where weed is decriminalized. So that, I mean, if I had the real stuff, it would cost, it would be a misdemeanor, anything under an ounce, and they really wouldn't do a big deal about it. Whereas in Texas, you have even a half a gram, you're going to jail, and I think I had to pay a $250 fine, and it's still on my record as a drug charge for, because I when we got pulled over, my weed fell out. It was not funny. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. Okay, so here in Louisiana, it's decriminalized. So you go buy Delta 8 from the store, they have stuff that has THCA in it, which is the THC that I'm looking for. Okay, and you're not getting it. What I thought was swag when I was in New Orleans is actually this basically the same stuff, not as good as this stuff. This stuff's actually pretty good, for being like less than, it's like 0.15%, which the maximum allowed by law is 0.3% of for the THCA content. But for being a 0.15%, it's actually not that bad. But you got to smoke a lot more just to be able to get the effect. It's not long lasting. And I thought it's swag. But if you want to be legal and not face any consequences, well, you kind of got to do what you got to do. This was just a one-time thing. I had to experiment. I had to figure out, like, what is this? Because it's baffling me. So anyways, Cherokee, that answers your question. Hey, if you wanna put $20 in my cash jar, I can go get another one, but I'm not gonna go get one. Otherwise, knock it off. What's out there? Nothing's out there. Leave it alone. There's nothing out there. Leave it alone. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Sam was growling. Get over here. Lay down. I had to roll under the tarp to see what was going on. Okay, but yeah, if you wanna put $20 in my Cash App, I'll go get another one. But yeah, I'm not gonna spend $20 on that again. Yeah, no. But if you want me to, I definitely will. I'll take another round. So, sick but good about yourself. Okay. Is that the new THC weed? Yes, it is, Cherokee. Well, I just explained that. Living the dream. Okay. What's up with everyone? What's up, Jeremy? Glad to see you. Oh yeah, don't forget to wipe your feet as you smash that like button. Okay, I quit driving around 17 years ago. Zero regrets. Yeah, I mean, there's no real there's no real need to drive or to do anything like that. So, I honestly I find driving too stressful. When I gave up, when I closed my business and I knew I never had to drive again. Oh, I was so happy. I prefer people driving me around, just because there's nut jobs on the road. And I don't want to deal with it. And, now if I had somebody drive me around, I can focus on other things instead of worrying about, lay down, knock it off. I can worry about, I think she sees a squirrel. So, but, I can sit there and focus on that. So, yes, likes are free. Hey, Amethyst, glad to see you. And if you are a member, okay, so I'm talking about doing for Patreon. I'm talking about doing doing a live stream on the weekends there, and just do one live stream here during the week and one live stream there during the weekend. And I at first it's probably going to start out for free members and for paid members, just so that I can kind of grow the audience over there. But again, the video that's coming out on Sunday will kind of explain to you why I'm pushing so hard for Patreon, and I continue to do so. But when that comes about, I think it's going to be, for the $5 membership and the $10 membership, at least to start out with, is going to be able to have live stream. I think what I want to do is just kind of see how the dust settles, and if it's bringing people over on both, even for the $5 one. Well, hell, I mean, $5 is $5, at this stage. So, that's something to consider. And what I'm going to end up doing, and so I posted, if you are a member over on Patreon, I posted a question. If you would answer it in the comments, I'd be much appreciated. I've had one answer, and I'd like to see a couple more, as far as the question that I asked. But essentially what's going to end up happening, is if you are a member over here to start out with as well, what I will end up doing, so that's the $3 a month membership. What that gives you access to is, like I've got like 5 videos up. If you want to watch all 5 videos without waiting for them to drop, you get to, for $3 a month, you get to watch, whenever I do my video dumps, because I will do probably 4 or 5 or 6 at a time. And then after that, it'll take me a few days, because I got to go gather up resources, because it's kind of like okay, I got money, I can eat today, I can focus on what I need to focus on. I do that for the day, get as many videos done, and then the next day, because I only had enough money for one day, then I go out there and I fly a sign or do other things, to be able to acquire the necessary funds that I need for my daily upkeep. Because I like to have my pack of cigarettes. I mean, I could get a pack of cigarettes for $1.50. They're cigars. I deal with them, but I do that, especially when things get tight. Weed, I don't need it, and I'm waiting. I wanted to try this, but what I'm planning on doing is on the 21st, I am going, is when I get paid, is when I'm going to pay for a bus ticket to New Mexico. But I had to have a talk with my buddy Paul today, because I asked him, because he has a little bit more knowledge of what's going on the border than I do, because he, with his experience and with who he's associated with, and what class of people he's with, he gets to know a little bit more than I do. And I asked him, because in New Mexico they are now deploying APCs there. Okay, how much more dangerous is that going to make it? Okay, so here's something to think about. Okay, and I'm okay. So let's just talk about this in a hypothetical. Okay, because everybody's calling Governor Abbott out for being a tool, because all this is propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. Okay, so it's propaganda. All right. So he's using Eagle Point so that he can put the propaganda out to down the border that all those migrants need to move somewhere else, because Texas is militarizing the border, and they've got their military there, and so they put their vehicles there even without engines in them, as long as they see it, because you don't know if people are in there or not, so you're going to do what you're going to do, right? And so, therefore, the migrants are now moving west towards New Mexico, Arizona, and California. Well, now this has caused New Mexico to send these APCs down as well, because now they're like, well, we got to do the propaganda war because we don't want to get flooded. Because, I mean, with everything that's going on in Colorado with the migrants, I mean, it's if you are a migrant or you are a homeless person, and when if you're a migrant, worry about the citizens. If you're a homeless person, worry about the government. That's pretty much all I can say about that. But you have these things that are going on, and and it's like, do I really want to go there? Because right now, basically, I'm walking into a burning building. Okay, and I asked Paul. I said, "Hey, buddy, what would you do if you're in my situation?" Because I'm like, I can't do what you do. You're something else. Okay. And his response to me was, "You're really good at blending in. You keep a low profile. Nobody really knows you." So essentially, he's calling me a gray man, which that's good. And with Sam, and I said, "Well, I used to be a good gray man, but with Sam, I have, she tends to be a magnet." And he's like, "Well, no, actually, the dog, will cause people to be a little bit more nice to you, because you and a dog. So because you keep a low profile and you got a dog, people are going to probably treat you a lot nicer than if you didn't." And so therefore, he's like, just kind of hang out in the cities, just migrate around, but because you keep a low profile, that would be what I would do in your situation. But I'm like, well, what about all this stuff that we're pushing for with Russia and with China, and they're saying we're going to be at war by the time it comes 2025. Okay, so if we're going to be at war with them next year, holy cow. What it's kind of like, where's a safe place to go? And I keep reminding myself that during this period there is going to be no safe place to go. It's about how do you survive something like that? And that's something that I am trying to figure out as well. I'm still pondering it. I'm still thinking about it. But from a survival standpoint, let me show you around here real quick. And I know Sam's gonna follow me, but let me show you around here. Okay, so this camp where I'm at, it's where I've been since the first night I got here into Shreveport. Okay, and what I did is I found a map next to, or I pulled up my map. I looked for a forest next to either a highway or a bridge that I could dip into, because that's generally where you're going to have your best luck when you're looking for a forested area in a city, especially when you're new in a city and you don't want to run up on somebody's camp. So this is where a lot of people have done a lot of industrial waste. I think people pull off and dump their trash in here. There's very little or minimal evidence of homeless here. This is more evidence of houses throwing their trash down here. So don't blame the homeless for this one. Okay, but let me so I'm watch behind me. Okay, so I have my part where I could do my tent, right, or where I can have my hammock, right. This area right here behind me, I can turn this into a meadow. I've got as you see, there is chicken wire down there, and that looks like a former chicken coop. I could possibly, well, I may not be able to repair it, but I could, I could probably even have chickens back here if I really wanted to. But I got an area here. If I'm gonna have to, all these small little trees that are sprouting up as part of, all the stuff that goes on here with them dropping the seeds, because this will eventually become so thick you can't even get in here unless you terraform it. So something like that, okay. And I could put a garden right here. okay, with my tent right here, okay? And I have a Burger King about 2 blocks down from me where I can go charge. I can get a cup of coffee, and then 2 more blocks down, I've got a Circle K where I can buy me. Basically, the cheapest cigarettes you can buy is $4.36, and it's Lucky Strikes at Circle K, okay? But then if I wanted to actually form a community, as you see right here, okay, so that's like some sort of wall, but you could very easily turn part of this into the remainder of the garden plus another individual, okay? And I could like literally terraform this, clean this up, and get this going if I could build a community. And there's actually a spot for 1 or 2 more people. Okay, so if I wanted to gray man it in a city, keep a low profile, do all that stuff, while doing what I'm doing. But here's the problem, and this is something that I have to be really, really quick about, okay, as far as the things in which I'm trying to accomplish, okay, which is there's going to come a point in time when, let's say I stay here, and Louisiana decides to do the same thing that Florida is doing, and Oregon is doing, okay, as far as criminalizing homelessness and trying to put people in camps and force them into camps as a way to, is a way to be able to manage the homeless situation, okay? There's a limited amount of time, because when they start saying that the homeless have to go in camps, what that means is that I can no longer fly a sign, okay? If I fly a sign, I'm calling attention to myself, which means that I just go with, I go without, you know what I mean? Or I fly a sign and run the risk of a police officer coming up and telling me that I have to go to a camp. Okay, so could I do this in a city? If I were going to do it in a city, this would be where I would do it. Shreveport has as far as being able to go and see the level of services that they offer, I would be very well taken care of as a homeless individual, as far as food. If I couldn't afford dog food for Sam, so the only thing that I would be required to come up with if I really had to go and use their services. But then again, what would happen to those services if they set up a camp? Because there's not going to be people going to them, so therefore I would lose out on those. Okay, and so there will be, as they do that, then these things will shut down, and either that or they will turn into a receivership. And so therefore you want to keep your profile low. You don't want to have interactions with the police. You really don't want to do anything that's going to call attention to you, but again, I bring up Sam, okay? So this is just kind of like, do I do this or do I do that? My friend says I'm good at this because this is what I've proven to be good at. This is what he would do based upon my personality. But then again, I want to go out and I want to live in the woods. But if I go out and I live in the woods, I may be being flooded by migrants that are crossing the border and trying to make it as far north as they can. Even though they're not welcome in Colorado, it does not mean that they're not going there. Because Paul was telling me that in Dallas, the cartels have moved in and they're trying to take his property. And the thing is, they see it, they want it, they take it. And so this may be a point where, people are having to, fight these migrants and these cartels and these gangs off of their actual property. Okay. And so this is something that, staying in a city, this is what I'll have to deal with. Going out in the woods, I may have to deal with it, but then I've got unless I'm really good at hiding, which here I'm good at hiding because, I found a really good spot. Nobody can, you have to really walk in here and I would hear you coming in before you would even see me. That is how far back in here I am. I'm probably about maybe 300 yards or about 200 to 300 yards from the road. Okay, and you still gotta zigzag through here, and you gotta know the path. And I mean, the path is partially worn, but not very worn. Okay, so this is something, that I have my anonymity, my security, and stuff like that. But at the same time, I just I gotta figure this out. Okay, so if we ever get close, we gotta get through an Oz in the weekend. Okay. Go through an ounce in a weekend. Oh yes. I don't know if I could do that unless we're cooking it. Like if you're putting it in some cookies, yeah, we can go through an ounce. I don't smoke a lot. I really don't. The most I smoke is an ounce a month. We could do that in New Hampshire as well. Okay. You should come to New Hampshire. We could do a collab video. Well, that's if I continue traveling on trains. Yeah, I probably come either train. But see, the thing is trains are becoming more dangerous as well. Not only because of all the derailments, but because there's increased security, because that's how they're transporting military hardware. And now that military hardware is starting to go all over the country because of what's going on at the border, what's going on in Europe, what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Africa, what's going on in the Caribbean, take your pick. We are moving so much military hardware around this country right now that there's going to be more eyes on it, because the military is going to make sure that their equipment is protected. Okay, so I live in New Mexico, Albuquerque. Well, Amethyst, if I make it to Albuquerque, you and I are going to have to meet. All right. Okay. Okay. You live in New Mexico. Okay. Tuck, when you get to New Mexico, check out the Elephant Butte. Okay, sorry. I hope somebody's laughing at that. Okay, the homeless are more native, and it seems to be alcoholics. No, I'm not sure if they have programs for the homeless. I wish they did. Well, yeah. New Mexico is its own beast. I mean, honestly, it's like it's still stuck back in the 1940s, and that was like 25 years ago. Like the first time I went homeless, I drove through there, and people were still smoking in the gas station while they were taking my money. Whereas where I'd come from, they'd actually outlawed it in the bars like a year or two prior. So what's up, Outdoors? Nice to see you. Nowhere, you just have to prepare. Okay. Bypasses are great places to stealth camp as well. Yes, they are. But you got to make sure that you kind of, you get in. You don't just go in a little bit. Really dig your way back in there, especially if you plan on staying for a few days. Or like with me, sometimes I have to reprimand Sam, and so I need some of those trees to muffle out my voice. I actually introduced myself to my neighbors today, and they didn't even know I was back here. They thought they were tripping last night when they heard me bitching at Sam because she dug up my cat hole. Oh, I'm so mad. Okay, I don't know. That's good. Okay. The last time I got busted for weed was in 1978 at Champouie Park, Oregon. Oh, wow. Wow. That's some serious time. Okay. Isn't Lucky Strikes the World War II smokes? Yes, they are. My grandfather, actually, the first cigarette I smoked, actually, not the, the first, because I kept saying, Mom, I want to smoke, Mom, I want to smoke. So she went and got Lucky Strikes, and back then, they didn't have filters on them. Now they have filters on them, okay? Because I went in to buy a pack of Lucky Strikes, no filter, and I'm like, I want some no filter. And it turns out that they have filters on them. They don't have the no filters anymore. So, okay. Okay, at the point, screw their laws, hunt, fish, trap, grow your food anywhere. It's self-prevent. Well, it's that where now. Here's the thing. You think, okay, the world falls apart. I'm gonna go out in the woods. I'm gonna build a garden. No, you need that garden there within at least 6 months of it happening, because you need to build a rotation. You need to be able to get yourself set up, because if you just like, I'm gonna grow a garden, what are you gonna do? Starve for 3 months until harvest comes? I mean, you got to be there beforehand, and that's the big thing is, where do you go beforehand that's gonna give you. And I think I need to stop worrying about safety and more worry about logistics and the ability to really just kind of be where I need to be. Okay, so I mean, it took me forever to get up to Cincinnati. That was my original goal, and I ended up getting there. Okay, my goal was to find a place to go off grid, to bug out, to build a garden, so that by the time winter comes, because they're already starting to have food shortages, it's really going global. My time is very limited. I'm kind of behind the 8 ball to begin with. If I want to make sure that Sam and I can stay fat and happy, okay. So I mean, it's about making sure that when you make that choice, I got to be all in, and I got to make sure it's going to be the best choice for Sam and I. And I mean I got to tell you that Shreveport is becoming a vortex for me. This is a place that could suck me in, and I could stay here for a while and be happy. Okay, just because of the interactions I've had since I've been here, and the way that the city is designed to assist its homeless. But here's the thing: I'm not going to be homeless forever. Okay, my goal is to get good at growing a garden, building structures, doing my terraforming, get good at doing things like that, so that when it comes time to where I have enough money to go buy my own property, I can just go buy my own damn property and build my structures and my garden and everything else like that, and transition over into that. Okay, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, and it may not happen, or I may, one of the things that maybe pushes me towards going west and making sure that I go west is that if I'm out there on BLM land, I've already homesteaded my land, and once the government collapses, I mean, nobody can tell me to move. And that's kind of what I'm counting on, is I need to be able to be in a place before the food collapse happens, but after the government collapses, if that makes sense. So I got to be able to keep my head below the radar for as long as possible, so that I can wait for the next stage of the American collapse, so that I can just do what I need to do, and at that point in time. But again, with all those migrants coming up, are they going to be living out in the woods? How many of them are going to be in BLM land? Are they going to be attracting police to come out into BLM land? Things like that. Following the rules is one thing, but when they said that they're going to put you in camps, and they realize that you don't have a roof that you can pay for, well, then they're going to throw me in a camp. Okay. So at that point, screw their lot. Okay. Okay, sneak into Canada for a tour. I hear the CMP are really good at catching people come across that border. I think from what I hear, they have like some sort of tripwire or something like that. Canada is one of the last places I want to be. Okay, yeah. Hunting, fishing, and you can go forage until crops are ready. Yes, and that's what the West offers me. So stealth skills are mandatory. And stealth skills, I'm so good at stealth camping, I don't even realize I'm doing it anymore. I mean, just knowing where to find the spot. Like sometimes I'm lazy about it. I'm like, I'm just going to go sleep in a doorway. But when I know I'm going to be in a place for a while, it took me all of maybe 30 minutes of being here in the city to find this spot. And we were actually prepared to go find several spots. I actually had, if this spot didn't work and the other spot didn't work, we were going to go a little bit north to where the Kansas City Southern rail yard is, and the Red River goes through there, and and I could set up camp there in the forest, and then Sam could go play in the river all she wanted. Okay, so I mean. That was a thought as well. So it's not like I just came in and said, I did one, da-da-da-da-da, okay? So I do a lot of camping, so I got food that good with no power. Yes, but you got to realize what happens if somebody finds out you got a cook set? What happens if people find that you have freeze-dried food? What happens if people look at you and go, well, I've lost 3 belt loops, and you seem to not have lost anyway. I wonder, you must be eating well, and you must have plenty of food. You got to think about that. If you're gonna keep your food secret, you better be losing weight with the rest of the people, just losing it at a slower pace. You got a slow metabolism, you could say. Okay, so I mean that's just something to think about. But anyways, it looks like, wow, you guys, I gotta say thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being part of the live stream. As far as the videos coming and everything else like that, you guys kind of know what's going on. Now, does anybody have any questions for me? Because I am, since I've spent the last 2 days working on content, I ran through all but like $10 of the money that I made on the last live stream. So if any of you want to put a tip in my tip jar, kind of keep this thing rolling, you're good. Otherwise, I'm gonna actually, after we're done here, we're going up to Burger King and I'm gonna grab me dinner and get some charge on my phone because I'm down to like 20%. So, how do you feel about narcissistic personality disorder? That's their problem, not mine. Just have a set of clothes that are 2 sizes too big in your bug out bag. That's a good idea. Where am I going? Well, my goal is to take the Great Divide Trail and find a place there to get out that's near water, and that it has, I need a place where the forest isn't so thick, where I can just, build myself a couple of camps. And my worry is if I'm too close to the trail, what'll end up happening is you'll have hikers, and then you'll have migrants, and then you'll have hordes that will come through, see that and they will just rob me blind, and I will be starving while they are fat and happy on my crop. So that is probably the one concern that I have, and the reason why I want to get at least a mile, if not further, away from trail when I finally do that, because I want to ensure. I don't want to see when the whole world goes to shit. I don't want to see anybody, and if I do see somebody, I want them to be peaceful. That's all I got to say. At that point in time, though, I also once things break down really bad, I may end up looking at getting myself a long range weapon, just so that I can, because I can hear when you're out here long enough. You can smell things. Like I can smell Sam. I can smell a lot of the things that are going on around me. The longer you spend out here in the forest, in nature, the more your sense of smell goes. Also, your sense of hearing changes. Being out in nature, everything is so quiet that the noise in your head is louder than nature. And so even the slightest, breaking of a branch, you hear it. And now my hearing won't be as good as the dog's, but my hearing does improve dramatically when I'm out in the woods, because of just the quietness in nature. You start to you get used to the level of ambience or white noise. So okay, narcissistics are 1/3 of the dark trads. Okay. I was just watching a video about that Cherokee, really going through it right now. Okay. Okay, it's like greed, anger, and some have it more than others. Smoking some dank. Oh, dude, don't rub it in now. I gotta smoke the fake crap. I call it fake because it is kind of fake. Okay. So anyways, guys, we are coming up on 1 hour. So if you guys really be prepared for the videos coming out. There's one coming out at 9, one at noon, the next morning at 9, the next morning at 9, and I think I got one more coming out the morning at 9 that I've already uploaded. Tomorrow I will probably end up uploading 3 or 4 more videos. If you are a member right now and you like binge watching my videos, you are gonna have a blast. This'll be what you spend your weekend doing, because I want to make sure that I get the content up, because I've had a lot of this content in the background that I've been worrying about, that I've been trying to get, but I haven't, because we've been traveling. We've been on the move ever since we left Pensacola. Excuse me, actually ever since we left Gainesville. We really haven't had a chance to sit back and relax. And so now that I have that time, I'm trying to catch up on everything that I kind of neglected. And this is the way it'll be. So if you're going to be a member, just remember that, some weeks you may not see a video for like 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden you get a dump of like 15 videos all at once. Okay. So that's just kind of the way it works. And then the rest of the people get to see them, as they come out, as they're scheduled to come out. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the channel. Everything else is down in the description. See you in Tuesday's live stream.